Well, actually, both of them are based on a lot of facts and a lot of real stories. There isn't really just one particular story in either of the two books, which I can say that this is the only story which runs through it, because I had worked as a journalist for many years in India, and when I was in the field, I noticed that there were so many things, so many issues to do with gender and to do with women, stories which we used to write about or put on television, which would just go unnoticed by the media. And I think that was what prompted me to write these two books. And as you know, the first one is about this horrible tradition with, it's really the backstory, but it comes up in the book, the horrible tradition we have in India of female feticide and infanticide, where baby girls are sort of systematically killed at birth. And I was just appalled. I was just appalled that at a modernizing nation like India, a supposedly global power can still treat its baby girls like this. And how can we as women just be mute about it, or even as a people be mute about it? Or why is the world not waking up? And I think that was why, in a fit of rage, literally in immense anger, I wrote the first book. And the second one deals with, again, unfortunately, the whole issue of the exploitation of women's bodies through a surrogacy, which has now become almost like a form of colonization, where the Western world and the richer parts of the world are coming to India and using the wombs of very, very poor women and implanting embryos in them and having children. So I think these issues, I felt, needed to be spoken about. So as I said, there wasn't really one particular thing, but a whole collection of things which prompted me to write these books. Well, she is a figment of my imagination, but she is also, I think, a sort of combination of various women I know who unfortunately are not reflected either in Indian literature or on the screen, so you don't even know that they exist. But there are lots of women out there who are doing excellent work in India. The important thing for me, as far as Simran was concerned, was that I wanted her to be totally an independent person. She's not dependent on anyone, neither on a boyfriend or a father or even her mother. She is her own person. And I think I wanted to put a character like that on center stage, a sort of heroic figure who looks at what the social problems are and uses her own resources, be it her own intelligence, be it her own even financial resources, to sort out problems. And I think for me that was important, because otherwise the image of women all over the world, but in India in particular, is always of one of dependency. In some way or the other, they need that patriarchal sort of benevolence to get ahead. And I didn't want that to happen in Simran's case. I wanted her to be totally herself. Yeah, well, that book is going to be about the whole sexualization process that's taking off extremely young girls. And that's happening, as I said, not just in India, but it's happening all over the world. And I want to emphasize that my books are global books. I don't want them to be looked upon as books by an Indian author for an Indian audience, or carry that, what should I say, that ethnic stamp on them. I want them to be used for a global discussion, even for just for the interest of reading fiction, and which is why I'm looking at issues which affect, as I said, women all over the world, men and women, because none of these issues can be read as only gender issues, because they affect what is happening on the planet everywhere. This particular issue of sexualization, I think, is not just an Indian issue. It affects people everywhere, as I said, and I feel rather sad that young girls don't have a childhood anymore. I don't even think parents are aware of what is going on exactly with young girls when as young as 11 and 12, when they're putting on makeup and they're sort of going out and, you know, having what they call a good time, and they're not being able to be young and innocent in the way we used to be. And I think that is a huge tragedy. But of course it's going to be a novel again. Yes. The first one was based actually on a real case which took place. That was again, but that was used more for background purposes, about a girl who had been accused of killing her entire family. And the second one, as you know, is based on lots of cases of surrogates that I have looked at, studied, spoken to. And this one also is going to be about a couple of cases which have taken place in Goa. I won't name them because I don't want people to think, oh, it's about that particular girl. But definitely, it's going to be based on a real life incidents which took place, in which the girls unfortunately suffered a great deal. And because these are meant to be crime novels, so I do have to put a crime at the heart of it. But I'm using that as a means to probably discuss a whole lot of other issues which I think are important, but I'm also primarily just telling a story.